General, civil construction, concrete, general engineering, big stuff.
Like big buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of- I would never want to work with it. They don't want to give us licenses.
Yeah.
Costs a couple of years, every couple of years. Thank you, folks. Would everybody please stand and pledge allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, thank you folks for all coming out in this wet weather we're having tonight. This is the meeting of the Bonner County Planning and Zoning Commission. We're located in the County Administration Building, 1500 Highway 2, Sandpoint, Idaho. We're in the first floor conference room. We're online, Zoom and YouTube live stream. Being said that we all need to watch our language and be courteous to our neighbors this evening, please. Can we have a roll call for my left, please?
Commissioner Frankenbach.
Commissioner Reed,
Commissioner Davis.
Commissioner Casey,
Commissioner Barry as chair, and so we have a full quorum. Any announcements? Anything on the consent agenda? I didn't see the minutes here. Are they out floating around or are there any minutes?
They were in the.
It'll be this file here. Okay, so anybody have any comments about the minutes? Okay, so we'll make those approved. So being it's 5:31 there, our first file is file AM 0023-21 and ZC 0033-21, comprehensive plan map amendment and zone change from Mr. Craig Hill. He's requesting a comprehensive plan map amendment for rural residential to resort community and a zone change from rural to recreational. The property is 0.54 acres, is zoned rural 5. The property is located off Luby Bay Road in section 24, township 60 north, range 5 west, Boise Meridian. Are there any conflicts of interest?
Nope.
Hearing none, would staff present the file, please?
Commissioners, you want to go over the hearing procedures?
Does everybody understand the hearing procedures up on the board? Any questions? No, we're good to go.
Sorry, check. Commissioners, members of the public, good evening. My name is Daniel Britt from the Record Planning Staff. We're here tonight to discuss a comprehensive plan map amendment and a zone change. The evaluation of the amendment, Bonner County Revised Code 12-216, allows staff to take in the application, look at it, and make sure there's adequate evidence to move forward with the general and the specifics of the comprehensive plan. Bonner County Revised Code 12-20.1 gives each zoning district its own purpose statement to help us guide these applications and to review the application against the code. So a little background on this parcel. Currently, there's 2 single-family dwellings on there. It is unplatted. It's just over ½ acre. It's currently zoned R5 with the land use designation of rural residential. Property is accessed by Luby Bay Road, which is a Bonner County owned, paved, and maintained travelway. So some environmental features and services at the property currently. This is our slope map that you're seeing here with our wetlands layer on. The site does not contain any map slopes. It does not contain any map wetlands. There are no water courses on this parcel. Water and sewage is served by Kalispell Bay Water and Sewer District. Fire protection is provided by West Priest Lake Fire District. Northern Lights is a utility provider, and it's within Bonner School District number 83. There's one soil type found on the property, and it is not a prime land soil. These are the agencies that were routed for comment. DEQ submitted a letter with recommendations that is attached to the staff report that you can find in the file. City of Clark Fork, Idaho Fish and Game, Independent Highway District, ITD, including Ponderay Sewer District, Panhandle Health District, and Ponderay Hospital District submitted comments of no comments. All other agencies were silent. No public comments were received on this file. So getting into the comprehensive plan amendment project summary. The applicant is proposing a comp plan amendment from rural residential to resort community for the purpose of being able to provide dormitory style employee housing. The current and the proposed comprehensive plan. So currently it is rural residential. The area provides for residential development in areas where urban services are not available and slopes may vary up to 30%. These areas include hazardous areas of critical wildlife habitats, where lower density reduces potential for impacts to resources and exposure to loss of property or lives. Small scale ag uses and residential developments are permitted for the comp plan for rural residential. The resort community was set up to provide urban-like density for areas centered around recreational areas of development for winter and water sports, golf and hiking, where urban services are provided for the comp plan. So looking at this chart here, so Bonner County Revised Code 12-337, the accessory use table, tells us that all employee housing is a permitted use in every zoning district. The challenge with this one is that it has to be on site. Fortunately, this parcel is not part of the commercial operation that's on site. That's why comp plan is being asked for this evening. This is the proximity of the commercial development, mainly the golf course that's at Priest Lake in that blue area, and just south of that, which was not included in this area as part of the golf course. This is the parcel we're talking about this evening. It's adjacent to the golf course that's already designated as resort community. So the findings of facts for the comprehensive plan, the property is absent of all slopes. Critical wildlife habitat was not identified by the Idaho Fish and Game. Urban services are available to this parcel. Recreational activities are surrounding this area. Most surrounding parcels are sub 5 acres. So moving on to the zone change, the ask is to go from rural 5 to recreation. The zone change request will allow for the applicant to pursue a conditional use permit for a hostel designation to accommodate for seasonal employees. So BCRC 12-333, our commercial use table. There's 3 notes involved to meet the criteria for a hostel. And one of those, as we can see with the red arrow pointing down, it does require the conditional use permit. And this can be pursued so long as notes 2, 5, and 32 can be achieved. Number 2 discusses roads. This parcel does have access to the standard road. He may or may not put a sign up, but he'll be able to meet that standard if so be. The big takeaway from this is note 32, housing shall be owner or manager supervised, may consist of dormitory style, separate or family sleeping quarters, food service facilities, water supply, and wastewater disposal. This is the current zoning for the area. You can see that the parcel's up here. This is all rec zoning, rural service center. And there's a small portion of the rural 5 here, as well as the R10. So it's mixed zoning in a very small area. So these are the standards that are used to review for the R5 and the recreation. and to look to see if this property is appropriate as for the recreation district. The land is physically suitable to accommodate a broad range of residential and recreational uses. It does have adequate sewage disposal services, water supply, and roads, and other public facilities and services are available to this property, as we learned earlier. These are the findings of fact. You'll find in the staff report. These have not changed since then. Conclusions of law are the same as found in the staff report. Staff finds that this proposal is consistent with the Bonner County Revised Code. Commissioners, I can take any questions that you may have this time.
Any questions, staff? And I've got a couple. And how many folks are they going to be housing?
I don't have that number. The applicant is here this evening. I could answer that question, I'm sure.
And then municipal water, you said is it?
Kalispell Water and Sewer will be providing services, so it has both urban services
I'll
available.
save my questions.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
So, well, just when, Daniel, so we know when somebody comes in the office and they say, I'd like to do this with my property, then they sit down with the planner and talk it through, back forth, well, maybe what is this? So, but the conclusion was that under the present comp plan and then also zoning, it just couldn't happen because of, go back to that one if you would, be on site. And that's the zoning. That's the zoning code.
Correct.
But the comprehensive plan designation is rural, right?
Correct.
Which doesn't, well, I mean, the comp plan, I forget whether there's any goals in there that talk at all about more dense housing in the rural or.
It goes to the housing component of the implementation portion of that, which allows for that and the economical growth and recreation, because it leads itself to, don't have that in front of me right now, but off memory, to allow for expansion of businesses.
But that's all under
recreation.
the recreation designation.
Part of it is yes.
Yeah.
As well as
It's just that
economic
it
development.
better fit under the recreation designation in the comp plan and the whatever we're going for here on the recreation. Yes.
So the resort community
Recreation.
fits best with
Resort
the
community.
goals of the applicant. And so after a lengthy conversation with the applicant to provide this employee housing, it was a bit of a road to get there. And that's how we ended up on the hostel thing. That's the only way it fits in when the property is adjacent to a commercial operation or just offsite in general. It doesn't even have to be adjacent.
So it fails that on-site test because it's not on the same parcel,
Correct.
even though it's an adjacent parcel across the street.
Across the road.
Correct.
Yeah, road
He
separate.
happens to own the adjacent
There's no
parcel.
provisions for adjacent parcels owned by the same owner.
If it was, we'd all would be sitting here.
Daniel, if the owner outlined to Justin, bring that parcel into the other parcel, there'd be.
I'm not sure if he's even open to wanting to do that. It's a valid question and point. We just looked at the property itself and what he was trying to accommodate. Looked at the code, so.
But if there was a stumbling block, that could be the avenue.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
How many units are they speculating?
So he hasn't submitted any plans for building location permits, so we don't know that at this point. He could probably answer that question. I
we can
can't.
get that.
Sounds like he's right behind me, so he'll be able to answer this shortly.
Yeah, we'll get through this.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Is there anything you want me to leave up there?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Greg, you're welcome to come up.
Yes, sir. Name and address for the record, please.
Craig Hill, 4777 West Lake Shore Road. Priest Lake, Idaho. Craig Hill, owner operator of Hills Resort and Priest Lake Golf Course. And we're asking to do this because Hills Resort sits on a U.S. Forest Service lease. Our lease they do not allow employee housing on our own property. And so we purchased a number of pieces of property close to the resort. And this one in particular has a trailer on it. And another, it has two houses on it we use for employee housing. One's 1974 single wide trailer. And it sits right in the middle of the property. And if we can take that off of there and put this new dorm style on there, it gives us better accommodations for our employees. It's also walking distance to the resort. It's also walking distance to the golf course. So from a location standpoint, that's why we picked up that piece of property. Now we just have to get rid of the trailer that is a nightmare. It was completely frozen last week when they got cold, and it took us forever to thaw it out. And it was, but with the new facility on there, and the question came up about how many we are going to put on there. We're looking at 9 on the first floor, 9 separate bedroom bathrooms with community kitchen space. We're trying to set these up similar to a hotel room where when you come in, it's a queen size bed. You have your own shower, toilet, sink, and then a little microwave and refrigerator, like a hotel style room so employees that have a partner, they could live in that room and they would have their own privacy. If they didn't have a partner, they would just be in the room by themselves. That would give us 19 additional spaces. We're currently out of spaces. We have about a little over 150 employees that we employ in the summer.
That facility be fire sprinkled?
Yeah. We have a number of different rental houses around the community, but at this point, those are basically full. We used to be able to just hire employees whose parents had summer cabins, and the employees could live at the summer cabins. Those are starting to disappear, and we don't have as many we hire a lot more people than we used to. We used to be able to do it with 30 to 50 people, but now we're bumping 150. And so we just
to talk to the fire chief about how many units, because fire flow changes as population is building.
Yeah, I've discussed this with the fire chief.
All right.
We would put in whatever we would need to make that happen. Firewalls and sprinkler systems and alarm systems and that kind of thing. Anybody have any other questions?
Any other questions of the applicant? Title 13, you should probably read that.
Okay. Okay. When the last time back in the, I don't know, when Claire Marley was in the planning and zoning department, we went through and changed all the changed the golf course to recreation, and it was kind of a hodgepodge of different stuff. And then we took the recreation zoning all the way down into Hills Resort itself. This is all Forest Service property here. This is all Forest Service property here that backs up to all these lots along the loop there. Just for your information. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. All right, and it's fine stuff. So, you need to rebuttal on that?
Nobody online?
Nobody has their hand up. Okay. Any in the audience wish to speak? Okay, so we'll close public comment, open it up to the commissioner's deliberation and a motion.
So it's very interesting, having sat through many, if not most, of the Priest Lake committee meetings trying to deal with the comprehensive plan. This very subject of employee housing came up over and over again. And the committee really wanted to address it, but it's so hard to do because then you're dealing right down with the individual parcels. And I think it's a good example of, all right, here, a resort owner wants to do that and is doing it, but you have to deal with it on a parcel basis. And so you come forward with what you got. You know, and if the whole area had been designated back when, 5, 7 years ago, when hindsight is wonderful, but the whole area could have been designated recreation, but it wasn't. So this is a cleanup, I guess you call it almost. And good move.
This is a great spot right here to clean up quite a bit of that because it's part of it's mixed.
Yeah.
And it is all recreational.
Pretty much.
Pretty much except for the Forest Service lane.
Right, but that slot down the middle between the Forest Service, I mean, it's there because of the lake.
Right.
And the mountains and the trails and
And
everything.
those
So,
lots were created so many years ago.
yeah. And are quite a few occupied. Not all, but most of them.
It's a win-win for the area.
Yeah, I think so.
So this will be a two-part motion.
Yeah.
You get there, obviously.
Get right down to it. So, Mr. Chairman, this is Commissioner Davis. I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead, Mr. Davis.
I move to recommend approval to the Board of County Commissioners on this project file AM 0023-21, requesting a comprehensive plan amendment from rural residential to resort community on a 0.54 acre parcel generally located in section 24, township 60 north, range 5 west, Boise Meridian, Bonner County, Idaho, finding that it is in accord with the general and specific objectives of the Bonner County Comprehensive Plan and Bonner County Revised Code as enumerated in the following conclusions of law and based upon the evidence submitted up to the time the staff report was prepared and testimony received at this hearing. I further move to adopt the findings of fact and conclusions of law as set forth in the staff report and direct planning staff to draft written findings and conclusions to reflect this motion, have the chairman sign, and transmit to all interested parties. This action does not result in the taking of private property.
Commissioner Davis has made a motion to approve AM 0023-21 comprehensive plan map amendment. Greg Hill, is there a second?
Commissioner Reed, I second that.
Commissioner Reed has the second. Any discussion?
No.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. And then now on to the second part.
This is Commissioner Frankenbach. I move to recommend approval to the Board of County Commissioners on this project file ZC 0033-21, requesting a zone change from rural 5 to recreation, finding that it is in accord with the general and specific objectives of the Bonner County Comprehensive Plan and Bonner County Revised Code as enumerated in the following conclusions of law and based upon the evidence submitted up to the time the staff report was prepared and testimony received at this hearing. I further move to adopt the findings of fact and conclusions of law as set forth in the staff report and direct planning staff to draft written findings and conclusions to reflect this motion. Have the chairman sign and transmit to all interested parties. This action does not result in a taking of private property.
Commissioner Frankenbach has made a motion to approve zone change 0033-21. Craig Hill, is there a second?
Commissioner Casey second.
Commissioner Casey with the second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 654, and our next file is ZC 0031-21 zone change Ag Forest 20 to Ag Forest 10. David and Catherine Rose are requesting a zone change from Ag Forest 20 to Ag Forest 10. The approximately 52 acres of property is located off Mosquito Creek Road in Section 1, Township 55 North, Range 2 East, Boise Meridian. Are there any conflicts of interest? Hearing none, with the staff present the project, please.
Okay, Commissioners, Daniel Britt, planning staff for the record. We're here to discuss a zone change from Ag Forest 20 to Ag Forest 10. Same evaluations of the amendment for Bonner County Revised Code 12-216. It's reviewed with the general specifics of the comp plan and the zoning ordinance for the application. So we take a look, make sure there's adequate evidence. 12-320 helps us guide the application through the purpose statements. So project summary, the applicant is proposing a zone change from Ag Forest 20 to Ag Forest 10 for the purpose of building a single family dwelling and obtaining a conditional use permit for an RV park. The proposed zone change will remain within the current comprehensive plan designation of Ag Forest land, 10 to 20 acres. The AF district has two designations. They have 20 and they have 10, which these requests were reviewed against. A little background on these three parcels. Parcels are either developed with residents or are vacant. All three parcels are unplatted. The three parcels consist of approximately 52 acres. Zoning's Ag Forest 20. The land use designation is agriculture forest land. It's accessed by Mosquito Creek Road or Mosquito Creek Road, which are both Bonner County owned and maintained gravel surfaces. So environmental features that are found on the three different parcels, they do contain map slopes. They do contain map wetlands. It does contain waterfront and a stream. It's in flood zone X. Water that or services are provided are an individual well and septic. Fire protection is by Clark Fork Fire Department. Utilities is at Vista Utilities and within Bonner School District 84. These are the 5 different soils that are found on the 3 parcels. Only one of these is considered prime farmland. All the others are not prime farmland or prime farmland if drained. These are the agencies that were routed for this file. Army Corps of Engineers submitted a letter of recommendations for the project that you'll find in the staff report. DEQ has no environmental comments at this stage of the project. Idaho Fish and Game, same thing, submitted a letter of recommendations for the project, as well as did Panhandle Health. The city of Clark Fork had no comment. No public comments were received for this file. So this is the purpose statement for the Ag Forest District. The Ag Forest District is established to provide for agricultural and forestry pursuits. The purpose of the Ag District is to preserve, protect, and maintain areas that are rural in character and the integrity of the forest woodland areas where viable agricultural pursuits can be feasible and to avoid fragmentation of forests and farms. These are the standards for the F20 zone as well as the F10 for which this project was reviewed against. These are the criteria for the F20. We look to see if there's prime agricultural soils, if it's characterized by agricultural or forestry uses, if there's limited services, if it's characterized by steeper slopes steeper than 30%, if they're absent or limited substandard road system, or where large tracts are devoted to ag forest production. And we look at the F10 zone, and that requires us to see if prime agriculture soils are present where forestry and agriculture pursuits remain viable. It's within Area of city impact, where lands are for fire protection. It has access to standard roads and other services. So starting with the parcel, the most northern parcel, the breakdown that you see in that chart that you found in the Appendix A of the staff report breaks down the different criteria, which I assume you took the opportunity to read and to see how these parcels fit in. As we looked at the proposed zoning, it hits all the designations that's required to be AF10 on the parcel one. On the parcel, the central parcel or the middle parcel, look at the some designations. Proposed zoning for AF10 fits every single criteria that the code requires. Same thing with the third parcel. It meets all the criteria. The reason why you see the one no there is the pursuits are still viable, but it's not characterized by prime ag soils. These are the findings of facts that you found in the staff report that haven't changed, nor the conclusions of law. Staff has found that the proposal is consistent with the Bonner County Revised Code. You can entertain questions at this time, commissioners.
Any questions of staff? Daniel is the project representative here. Travis?
Watch presentation. Thank you, commissioners. Thank you to Daniel, and thank you to the county planning department. Travis Haller, I'm with Glade Professional Land Surveyors here at 303 Church Street in Sandpoint. We're here to talk about the zone change for the three parcels. David Lewis is here, one of the owners. If there's any questions I can't answer, he can. So also to show support. Page down. There we go. All right. So there's a property over here. You can see that. How did you get the red dot? What do I have to do? Is that special?
That's on PowerPoint.
Okay.
That's sent as a PDF.
All right. Sorry. It's all good. Clark Fork, just right outside. Do note that we are within the Clark Fork city impact. So that makes a difference. So if you want, I can stop here, but let me just tell you the gist about it. Daniel, great presentation. So this is what we're trying to go for. 4 parcels, 3 10s, 2 at the top, 1 at the bottom, but still a 20 in the middle. And this is currently what we're at now. And the reason being is the owners, family, stepbrothers, brother-in-law, excuse me, brother-in-law. They have family of their own. David has 2 daughters, the other side 4 daughters. So getting up there. That doesn't include aunts and uncles and cousins. So the idea behind this, I wish I would have expanded a little bit more on the application. I apologize. Yeah, we are talking about an RV site. That's the thought. That would go on the 10 acres up here. So that would also sustain kind of the property. The family wants to keep these under the family name and essentially make a family compound, a complex to keep this all. The idea is to put a residence on some of the 10s, probably 2 residents on the 20, and for family to live there, also have a little privacy. But also, to make this, self-sufficient and for the future generations. So to set it up in a way that, hey, we own it, but how can we, set this up for the future generations? We're only getting older, but, we want to leave our kids something. And as we all know, we see other developers coming in, splitting this up and selling them all off and keeping one for themselves. That's not going to be the case here. The idea is a family complex. So like Daniel said, the zoning map, we want to get it rezoned. So we're currently in the Ag Forest 20, the 20 referring to the 20-acre minimums. Out of the 3, we're actually only meeting that. We're only in compliance with 1 of that. So actually, not only is a zone change for a zone change, but it's also bringing this into more compliance than what it already currently is. You can see the adjoining parcels as well. Off to the east there, you have a 13 and a 15. Off to the west, you have a 20, but they're also AF 10. So the zoning that is in front of you is also, adjacent to 1 as well. So the comp land use, this is kind of key. If you look in the comp land use, the AF20 fits really in with the prime ag forest comp land use, the 20 acres or above, whereas that regular ag forest land, that does give you between the 10-acre minimum to the 20-acre, 10-acre minimums all the way up to 20. And that's where we're at. We're within that. So we're already in compliance with the comp plan use. So there's that. The code, we can go through it. I think Daniel said it perfectly. The topography, I lumped them all together because that's what is in front of you. So there's varying topography. We do have slopes over 30%, mainly over here. We have some gentle slopes on the south, but in the middle, it's all flat. So there's a varying degree of topography overall for the whole site. I apologize here. I have 4 soils. Daniel's more precise. There is 5. And so I have the same stuff. The services, we do have county maintained roads, both Mosquito Creek Road here and Lower Mosquito here, which the site is next. This is water availability. I was told last time to bring in some well potential. And so 3 wells here. There's nothing on site, but the 3 nearest wells, you can see the owners as well as the gallons per minute each one of those produce. So we definitely have that. And fire suppression services, if you look on the Bonner County Viewer in the fire services, there is none afforded to the site. However, because of this proposal and to show you that we do want it, the owner did go out and secured an agreement with the Clark Fork Fire and Rescue Department. And so now they are afforded sewer, individual for sewer and water. And then, which zoning fits better? This is the same thing Daniel had. I just kind of break it down. From what I lumped in prime ag soils if drained as part of prime ag soils. Daniel didn't, for whatever it's worth. So that's where my red came in, where the green did hit. So that's why I put, prime ag soils, the majority of the site I thought did have, but it depends on your definition of prime ag soils if drained. In conclusion, if we just look at the comp plan and the lot sizes, we're more in compliance with the Ag Forest 10, but it also is better designated those parcels that we're talking about because of the varying slopes and drainage. Instead of a broad brush stroke of, hey, let's just do it Ag Forest 20, and with all the varying criteria on the site, it makes more sense. Let's give it an AF 10, still meet the comp plan use. But that way that the owners can better manage their property. They could put in some, a little bit more housing. And again, this isn't in doubling the density. The lots are already 14, 18, and 20. So really, we're talking about a 25% increase in density. So everything else is there. Any questions?
Which section is proposed for the RV park?
So the RV park would go on the second 10 acres on the bottom. So that's the idea is this 10 acres right here. So you would drive in, there's already a little pull in, a little driveway, if you will, and stuff. And that's a really nice area. And you can see it over here. This is the same pull in right here. And so this is a really nice area. So that's the idea.
So is that a road between the 14 and the 20 there? And so they'd be coming off that road?
Correct, yeah. So this is Mosquito Road, Mosquito Creek Road, and county maintained. And then this is Lower Mosquito coming off of the main. Both are county maintained, and yeah, I believe we probably access off Lower.
Right, you can see the driveway.
Okay, yeah, this driveway right here.
And that upper section will continue to be private homes?
Yes, yeah, this the 10. But with the CUP, if I'm not mistaken, you can still have a private residence and still have the RV. So it's, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks, Travis. Would the applicant like to speak? You want to rely on Travis? Any questions of the applicant? Okay. We'll close that. Is there anybody online that would like to comment? No one online? Anybody in the audience? We'll close that and move to commissioners' deliberations and a motion, please.
Well, an interesting proposal. Try to figure out how to make a property sustainable for a family. It's an interesting concept. Can't always be done other than cutting trees and selling them. And RV park is a conditional use both in the 10 and 20 AF zone. So, yeah.
Which will come to us eventually.
Right, yeah, we see what conditional use from that on that. If they do the 10-acre lot there.
So that would go to the new zoning commission.
Yeah,
The
right.
state.
So this would lead to a minor land division for those 4 lots. Yeah. I'm a little surprised City of Clarkport didn't say anything. It's in the ACI, but they didn't, so. They were given the opportunity, they commented, no comment. So, okay,
Okay.
guess they got no comment. Take it for what it is. Well. Commissioner Davis, I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, sir.
I move to recommend, not denial, I got the wrong one.
That's the one.
Approval. Sorry, I went to the wrong page. I move to recommend approval to the Board of County Commissioners on this file ZC 0039-21, requesting a zone change from Ag Forest 20 to Ag Forest 10, finding that it is in accord with the general and specific objectives of the Bonner County Comprehensive Plan and Bonner County Revised Code as enumerated in the following conclusions of law, and based upon the evidence submitted up to the time the staff report was prepared and testimony received at this hearing. I further move to adopt the findings of fact and conclusions of law as set forth in the staff report and direct planning staff to draft written findings and conclusions to reflect this motion, have the chairman sign, and transmit to all interested parties. This action does not result in the taking of private property.
Commissioner Davis has made a motion to approve ZC 0039-21 zone change, Ag Forest 20 to Ag Forest 10. David and Katrina Lors. Is there a second?
Commissioner Frankenbach, I'll second that.
Commissioner Frankenbach with second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. It's 6:15 and our next file is V 0027-21 variance street setback. Jeffrey and Mary, and I'm going to butcher this last name. Somebody help me.
Ooh,
Rue? Is that
that'd be
correct?
my guess.
Okay, are requesting 11-foot street setback where 25 feet is required for placement of a garage addition based on slopes present on the lot. The property is zoned recreational. The project is located off States Line in section 33, township 57 north, range 1 west, Boise Meridian. Are there any conflicts of interest?
Nope.
Hearing none, would staff present the project, please?
Good evening, commissioners and public. My name is Amy Scott. I'm with the planning department. I am presenting
Can you
variance.
speak up a little bit more?
I'm presenting variance 27-21 for a street setback. The applicant is requesting an 11-foot street setback where 25 feet is required to allow for the construction of a 2-car garage. And there are 2 streets fronting this property. Beltane Cove is the main street, but we are actually talking about States Lane, which goes through the property. It was originally a utility easement for Bottle Bay Water and Sewer. Because of the steepness of the slope, people began using it as the access. And as you can see from the slope layer on the map, it is very steep. The yellow is 15 to 30% slopes, and the orange is 30% and greater slopes. The definition of street from BCRC 12819, the term street shall not mean a private easement or travelway that provides access to 2 or fewer single-family residential lots or parcels beyond the subject lot or parcel. If we go back to the area map, we'll notice that there are 3 lots beyond this lot. If there were only 2, they would have a 0-foot setback. Instead, they have a 25-foot setback. So they are on a dead end with only 3 properties past them. This is the property past them. You can see the tracks that run straight by the front of the house. The setback on this is obviously possibly negative.
Yeah.
They may be in the easement, I am not sure, but it's definitely not 25 feet or 11. This is the detail from the proposed site plan. I have highlighted in red the setback of 11 feet 3 inches. Is their exact proposed variance setback. We rounded to 11 so that there's a little bit of wiggle room. And this is the easement in blue that we're talking about. Again, Beltane Cove is off the screen. This is also a topographic map, so you can see all of the many, many lines, which is one of the reasons I highlighted the easement, because it is very steep there. This is a picture from the waterfront showing the grade, and you can see the back end of a pickup truck up there. Currently, the cars on this map are approximately where they park, just on the side of the road. And there's a car on the side of the road. This is a cross-section elevation showing the proposed garage, the existing house, the slope, and the location of the existing road. So you can see we're working with a triangle here to get the garage level with the road. It has to be very far up and can't be pushed too much back towards the house, or we would have to bring in a whole bunch of fill or something like that. So site characteristics, The property there at 58 States Lane is 0.35 acres. It does front on Bottle Bay and does have a small amount of flood hazard zone AE on there, which has a base flood elevation that has been determined. It is currently developed with a single family dwelling and accessory building. It's zoned recreation, and the comp plan designation is resort community. These are the agencies that were routed on February 3rd. No comments were received from any agencies. One public comment was received from a neighbor in support of the project. These are the applicable standards that were reviewed. And in the staff review, there was a small change here. I'll read the bold. According to the topographical site plan submitted by the applicants and created by Hendricks Architecture, slopes near the road reach and may exceed 82%. There was an error in math. I was doing degrees instead of percent. I got all confused. Math is hard. So it's very steep up by the road. Nothing else has changed in that analysis. This is also the same. The applicants purchased the property and existing home on April 5th, 2021, and therefore had no influence over the placement of the existing home or the development of States Lane. And since no agency or public comments were received that indicated the granting of this variance will have a negative impact on public health, safety, or welfare, we assume that it will not. It also has the potential to improve road access by removing potential obstructions. And one of the findings of fact has changed. Again, just the statement about the slopes on the property range from 10% near the water to 82% near States Lane. All other findings of fact are the same. Conclusions of law have not changed. Staff has concluded that this project is consistent with Bonner County Revised Code. Extreme slope and the location of States Lane results in a small building envelope. Other lots on States Lane were not required to maintain a 25-foot setback when they were developed, and 4 of the 5 do not meet today's setback requirements. These conditions have not resulted from the applicant's actions, and granting of this variance will not impact the neighboring properties adversely in any way, nor is the request against the public interest as demonstrated by the findings of fact. Can I answer any questions?
Questions of staff?
Do you know who maintains State Lane?
It's a private easement.
But no indication who
Landowners.
plows it, who, whatever?
I believe there's only one person
Yeah.
who may
lots
live
of-
there year round,
How many, okay.
according to mailing addresses.
And it looks like, I can't tell from the picture how many more lots north or south along the bay it serves. Maybe it's only 1 or 2.
It dead ends on the 3rd lot past the highlighted
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. So it's not a lot of traffic.
So-
And
No, it provides access to 7 lots total.
oh, okay.
But those 7 lots also have access off of Beltane
Off of
Cove if
Beltane,
they want.
Right, which is right there. Yeah. But as you stated, some of the other buildings are right there, right on top of State, which is. Okay, thank you.
It's really not.
Well, yeah.
It's becoming-
Yeah, but is it,
I wonder if.
has it ever been improved up to county standards? That's what I'm getting.
No,
Sure.
no, it's written as an access, I think that's deliberation.
Mhm. Okay. Any other questions? Thank you. Would the project representative here? Anybody from Hendricks here? You seeing no?
Online or?
Anybody online?
So let me double check. No, we still have no opinion.
And nobody has their hands up down the screen, so we'll close public comment and open it up with.
We want to ask.
Well, I did.
Oh,
Nobody in the room has any comments?
Sure.
Oh,
No, we have one person.
yes, sir.
You had a question about maintaining the road. Covenants, I live next door. In covenants, it says that each property owner maintains their secondary road. So that's.
Would you identify yourself for the record
Oh, my name's Rob Matthew,
in your
75 states.
state lane?
Uh,
So,
And the snowplow was part of the group on the east side of the bay from the Bottom Bay Road turnoff. And you got flooded every year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
so,
That's pretty much how it is.
Yeah.
One other comment I would have, on the map, 3 lots has this house, but States Lane does not access that 3rd lot.
uh,
The road did end in the middle of the 2nd lot.
Okay.
So the 3rd lot is not allowed road access.
well, sometimes we see that, if this road is going on for a long ways and there's people coming down through here at speed and so forth. There's other places on the other side of Water Bay where that's happening. On this side, these are pretty short roads for the most part.
Well, this at the middle of the 2nd lot. It's
Yeah,
pretty steep.
yeah, it's the nature of the land. You bet. Thank you.
I see that one public comment was in favor.
Yeah.
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 Mainly get the cars off the road.
Right, yeah.
Seems like a good.
So that it can be through traffic, as limited as it is. Yeah. Okay.
All righty, so got to, did you want to ask a question? Okay, so we're back to
Deliberation, no person here for rebuttal, so
Okay.
there's no rebuttal in them. Yeah.
Again, we're accommodating something that kind of fits the reality of what's on the ground.
Yeah.
And it seems like a positive thing to give people an opportunity to get their cars off the road.
We've
No
been
objections.
to Beltane Acres before. I'm saying that.
So this is Commissioner Frankenbach.
Yes, sir.
I move to approve this project file V0027-21, requesting a street setback of 11 feet where 25 feet is required in order to build a garage, finding that it is in accord with the Bonner County Revised Code as enumerated in the following conclusions of law and based upon the evidence submitted up to the staff report was prepared and testimony received at this hearing. I further move to adopt the findings of fact and conclusions of law as amended during this hearing and direct planning staff to draft written findings and conclusions to reflect this motion, have the chairman sign and transmit to all interested parties. The action that could be taken to obtain the variances to complete the conditions of approval is adopted. This action does not result in it taking a private property.
Commissioner Frankenbach made a motion to approve V0027-21 variance street setback, Jeffrey and Mary Oles. Is there a second?
Commissioner Reed, I second that.
Commissioner Reed with a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you, folks.
Yeah, good.
Mr. Milton. Yes, sir. You're up. You got 3 minutes.
Yeah, clock is running.
I'll give you my. You have applicants, we've got enough applicants.
We do. Statement is 20.
Wow.
So we'll take them to the board next week and have them start their process. We are still taking applications, but we've only got 3 from District 2, I think. We'll go check that. Maybe 4. It'd be nice to have a few more from that area, but yeah, several from District 3 and several from District 1, so.
Any coming out of our committees?
I do not think so.
It's interesting. I thought maybe there would be. So,
And the division between those who are interested in planning versus zoning is okay?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
all right,
there are probably 7 or 8 that are interested in zoning and
The rest, the plans.
and those, so the commissioners will do their selection, but we won't start that until the first week of April.
So, yeah, they'll start putting that, they'll probably do interviews. So, like I said, Tuesday, I'll present them the names and the applications, letters of interest. And then we'll go from there.
And are we set to have the planning commission on Tuesdays?
Yes.
That's Tuesdays, and did we decide on 4:30 or 5:30?
You talking about this coming Tuesday?
This coming Tuesday.
It's
we
coming
said
Tuesday, but I mean, once in April, when we start the planning
We
commission.
never did talk about that.
We
Yeah.
definitely haven't.
All right. Well, so at this point, we'd be looking at 5:30 on Tuesday. Unless we decide otherwise right now. Or next.
Well,
Well, we still got one more. We still got one more full meeting, so.
we have next week and then the week after.
Yeah.
So next week, we're meeting at 4:30
On
on
Tuesday.
Tuesday. We can get,
So
Upstairs.
upstairs.
be enough room.
Should.
I would expect, I would expect the zone change and comp plan file folks to be there in addition to Bowman's, but they'll have support. So let's talk procedure about next Tuesday. It is a workshop.
It's a workshop with the board. It's the board and conduct that, how.
Well,
How the board.
I think that we were talking about public comment.
the commission, yeah.
Yeah,
We weren't all here when we talked about that before.
okay.
So it is a workshop. A workshop, it's by our bylaws, it's up to us whether we take public comment. Expressed by the chairman. So,
You mean public comment outside the application?
Correct.
yeah, that's the thing. So, it's
There
a,
would be a lot of people then.
yeah, it's a fine line. We're discussing what they have proposed. And then the second part of that is, it's a workshop, so the intention is to talk about what they proposed and talk it through back and forth, up and down, sideways, within the realm of what they proposed. So that's not getting into the weeds and not getting into other things. Anyway, we can't get further than that tonight. But
So, but if we could hold off on public comment, because public would be able to comment at the hearing of that thought.
true. However, I'm just wondering, coming out of the workshop, are we going to see, could we possibly see different wording that they would then, and how do we handle that? They've got an application in, we're now workshopping it. Is it up to them to change their proposal if we come up with some whatever better solution?
Absolutely.
So they have,
could choose to not accept your recommendations. They could choose to go their own way.
okay, so it's up to them because we're dealing with their application. All right.
And you said something that sparked a question in my mind. Are there limitations on the scope of what we can discuss?
The application.
It's what's in the
So-
application. Yeah.
So,
So if we had some other ideas about, I think I understand what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
I'm not sure maybe they did state that. It's been a while since I looked at it, but I have some other ideas about maybe different, and I would suggest maybe better ways to accomplish what they want to accomplish. Can we talk about those things or not? In the form of, I think this would be a better way to accomplish what you want to accomplish. Now, they still can feel free to say, we think you're crazy, we're not going to do that. But we can make suggestions to them and they can decide what they want to do with it. Is that fair?
Yeah.
It's on top.
Sometimes.
So they want to talk about let's find a way to tighten up the zone change stuff. Okay, there's ways maybe that can be done, and maybe it's a little different than what they proposed. So we say, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And maybe going into it for the applicants and for anybody in the room, we're here to discuss solutions, not complain about problems.
And that's the solution to that code only, because we don't want to open up,
Right.
it'll be a Pandora's box.
So that's got to be stated right up front.
Do we want to stay just on what, if it's 3.C or whatever it is? That's what we're going to focus on.
Yep.
And so as we go, we'll go down right down. And we'll review the whole thing. We'll just hit each section at a time. And then maybe we'll go back if there's enough time and read the whole thing again and see again where all the conflict is. And if they're happy with where it is, then we'll, obviously there's probably a hearing date already signed for it.
No, I was actually gonna remind you guys, so we can't schedule a hearing date till we have a final draft of what the text amendment.
Yeah.
Because that has to go out to agencies for their review, and they can't make modifications along the way. If they do, we have to renotice and. put it back to them.
So the applicant will have to rewrite his document and resubmit it. And then it will come to us for
For a hearing.
final.
We'll see what happens next week. In my own mind, I don't rule out the possibility that there'd be more than one workshop before you get to a hearing. It's a pretty big thing right now. Now, maybe it will become smaller, but
Yeah.
I'm not 100% or anywhere near 100% so clear that out of one workshop, we'll all come back and here's a document that we're ready to turn to a hearing.
Yeah,
That's up to them, I guess,
yeah,
right?
it's up to them. So, because there is some urgency in this, because the applications haven't slowed.
Right.
I mean, I suppose they have some, but, you know, I think we've taken 7 zone changes so far this year.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and it is, and I, well, we can't get into that. But
If we stay on track per section, I think we should be all right. But if we get off track,
We'll see.
we're gonna railroad ourselves
Yeah.
quite a
So-
bit.
keep us on track.
And, we'll keep us on track because
Put it back.
Yeah, got
come April, we gotta get on the Trump.
Right.
We got, Mr. Davis is taking us to school here pretty soon, so.
Well, but it sounds like,
But if we don't make it, we don't
it
make it.
sounds like there's no way we'd get this done all the way through a hearing before April anyway. Even if we thought, away from the hearing next week and said, okay, we got it, we're gonna rewrite it. And, we'll be back in a week with a new version. It just seems like there's too much to get done.
So,
Well, these guys are, but there's a lot of them that work, they could maybe have each section, or who knows what
And
they have.
it has to be, they have to submit a new application and it has to be circulated.
so we've received the revised application. That's all we've gotten from them, so.
But it's the same text, just revised, so it's under Dave's name I assume, or something.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, they got some, a couple people's names.
I mean, we're trying to project what's next Tuesday, but as of next Tuesday, what would be the next availability to get that on a hearing?
So if they give us a final draft that day, we'd have to send a notice out.
I mean, it's a month, at least a month.
47 days.
Yeah, so it's not gonna happen before April, no matter what.
Could be the end of May.
Yes, it is what it is.
It's the way the wheels are turning.
Even if we come up with something, let's say at our first planning meeting, we come up with some code change. It's still gonna take the same amount of time. We can't react that fast. We've got required lead time on these things.
If we had everything by next Friday, as soon as we get it in, it's like May 5th.
And
So it tells you that that's how far out we're pushing for this.
so we need to state that as well, but they did agree and they think heartily to this workshop, so. I'm glad they did that because, that's the way you work things out. You gotta, it's taking more than 2 minds to get this thing squared away, so. Yeah. All right.
Well, it's part of being a community, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and this is beautiful. I fully endorse the process.
It's been that way now for 4 years. So.
Yeah.
Community involvement.
Okay. Would you happen to know if Chad got a meeting set up with the West Andre Fire District? And he was working on, he was gonna talk with the chief again. Maybe, oh, Jenny's not down.
He left.
Yeah, and Jenna was in on that inside track on that too, but she's not that great. It's Jana. Sorry. It's west of Dover to the west side, because you got, what's the other one called? West side is. That's connected with Selkirk. So we are having comments. We're going to have a sit down with Selkirk Fire, which is west side, Sagal and Sandpoint, but we don't care about Sandpoint. And then we're trying to get one together with West Andre, which is west of that over to county line. And interesting here, because as was pointed out in the zone change hearing file tonight, Clark Fork Fire Department, it's on like an agreement contract basis for outside of the city. And they will, and they can, but we need to talk with them too, because here they are making these agreements with people for service and coverage.
Right.
But how do they feel about development? And take a look outside Clark Fork. There's a lot going on out there, all the way to the state line. So, yeah, it's surprising.
Don, that's kind of old thinking. Joining the fire department, that's why you had the little plaque at your front door.
Yeah, right. We're covered. Yeah. Anyway, I don't think there's anything else. We should be having, we had an initial discussion with Avista, and they haven't responded back yet with their numbers and their thoughts and feelings. That was 2-3 weeks ago. So we haven't heard back from them. Same thing with the Lake Monterey School District. The superintendent was going to talk with the staff and get something up and provide us with numbers and figures and all that and feelings. And I haven't contacted the other school district, which is, I sent an email to Superintendent Anselmo and haven't heard back. He's short time too. It's interesting, both of our superintendents in the county are short timers.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Tom would be great to have a conversation.
Oh, he
has
jumped on
such a
it.
good perspective.
He jumped on it. You bet.
Yeah.
So I know he's gonna have his staff provide something. He's out of here in June, the end of June, and I think Anselmo is too. I think he's in
Yeah,
May.
that's probably the fiscal year.
Yeah, right. So they're both short. And, okay. The other guys to talk with because they've been there for a while. Yeah. And then Swati and Chad are just pumping out the stuff on facts and figures and maps and charts and all kinds of stuff for us to look at as we get into it in April. But that's still our first meeting. We got to lay a path. Here's the things that we've got to chip away at. Here's timeline, so we don't go like this. Start being crazy.
Yeah, we got a few hiccups. The GIS director's gone this week, so.
Really?
So we'll be getting, I don't know, they're gonna think they're putting an interim in. Promote him within an interim director for a while. It could be good and bad. I mean, maybe we'll be able to use Shad a little bit more to help us in the back.
Call Trevor.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
He's doing the background work in Boundary County.
Well, he built up there, so.
I know. Yeah, he's via. That's not that far.
And then, what was the other one?
It's not good mileage, it's the traffic.
What, between here and Monastery?
It's 6:30 in the morning?
Yeah. It's all going north. No,
Oh, it's the south, it's the south traffic.
merge in, go with the flow.
Oh,
So we're looking
crazy.
at, we've been on, approved to hire a new admin person. We're looking at focusing that position around the planning commission. And get somebody to help. Administrative.
Facilitation.
Project secretary for Don.
So we're talking about some ideas. We're trying to make the best use of our resources.
You know any Jennies or Jessicas that really fit into the.
That's the current flow.
Yeah, right. It's gotta be 3 or 4 more. So it's interesting, here we are about to launch into, the comp plan planning, and personally, I've just taken on in my position with the Kootenai tribe, 3 big projects that are gonna last through the rest of the year. So, so I'm busy,
Oh, good.
but, I don't know, who knows?
What are you doing for them, road stuff?
Well, there's one road that we're trying to get funding for to upgrade, major down the face of a cliff road, gravel road, widen it out. So I gotta search out funding and do applications, grant applications and all that, and hire a consultant and hire a contractor and all. And then another one is developing a site up on Highway 95 by 3 Mile. That's a tribal trust property. But they want to put in a convenience store and a Sonic burger. And so I got to talk with the state about that, talk with the county. And, so, yeah. And then my regular work with them, so.
But that's tribal land there, isn't it?
Yep.
So
Yep.
really the state.
No,
What's the state gonna really have to say? I know they wanna work together, but.
yeah, it's just that it needs to be safe.
Right.
They need to be able to get in and off the highway and stuff, so.
Night, folks.
I mean,
Should be interesting.
I don't know.
Is he a
Introduction.
candidate for one of the
Introduction to
positions?
Maybe.
Yeah, civics lesson or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be.
So, it's just that the state has to issue somebody or deal with that intersection that goes into the county shop and so forth. So,
It'll certainly clean up the corner there. Well, it's not on. the
it's
corner,
not,
right?
it's just
down.
half a mile down.
Yeah.
Yeah, where the old highway used to come off.
Where it makes
short
turn
little button hook going out to the highway.
What's the third project?
What?
What's the third project?
Oh, the third project is I'm just my regular doing road inventory on and on and on forever, switching it to GIS. Keeping me busy, that's for sure.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Ready to go? All right, the boss says this meeting is continued till next week on the 8th. Isn't it the 8th here?
Yep.
We're on the 3rd floor. We're at 430 1500 Highway 2 Central in Idaho. It's 6:47.
Hey.